Super. All right. Hi. My name is Ása Bríet. I just graduated from the BA Women's Wear at Central St. Martin's in London. And my collection, Tales Told in Tangles, is about my heritage of craftsmanship and handcraft. And this is a picture of me and my grandmother. She's teaching me how to draw up a pattern at age 2. And throughout my portfolio, you will see a paper where I handmade from paper that was in the trash bins of Central St. Martin's. So So these switches each represent the time, so past, present, and the future. I looked into the origin of textile techniques and I brought them into the present, where I approached them in a more innovative and sustainable way, in hope we can move into the future for a better and more circular and sustainable fashion industry. So it's about the thread. We hold on to memories like threads in our hands, connected by the red thread, regardless of place or time. We sometimes lose a thread and feel like we are hanging onto a thread. We may stretch or tangle, but we never break the thread. So in my research, I started expressing my feelings and ideas or textile samples before developing the shapes and the textiles and the story for each piece in my collection. So I got wool from my grandparents in Iceland, who are sheep farmers, and I spun all the yarn from my collection myself and the hand-knitted undergarments and shoes. So my first look is called Our Invisible Threads. It's the hidden tales we hold onto in our hands, and it's memories from a diary. The coat is machine knitted with a see-through thread and over 2,000 Swarovski beads. So, and this is the knit that I hand spun all the yarn from the wool from my grandparents. This look is very dear to me because it's woven with a zero-waste weaving technique where I wove the jacket straight into its shape on a wooden plate. And I used old shirts from my grandfather who recently passed away. So this, I can still see my grandfather sitting by the kitchen table in his blue shirt. And with this look, I have made a memory tangible. And this is my final pictures. And then my third look, one stitch at a time. This look is inspired by the first image of in my portfolio of me and my grandmother. And it's handmade from dead stock and damaged beads. And I used the essence of the embroidery frame to create the shape and the drapes of this garment. And it has 200 buttons and corset loops, so you can puzzle the garment around your body. This look here is about lace. I think lace is the most beautiful handcraft I know. And I got that stock lace samples and I patchworked it all together. And then using silk, taffeta, and organza to create the shape of the coat. All right. So my grandmother's garden in the night is filled with flowers, and in the night it becomes really dark in the Faroe Islands. So you can only see the outlines of the flowers. So that was inspired me for this look. The flower petals are made from bamboo straps that are used in basket weaving, and it's wrapped with silk cashmere and threaded together into its shape. And each flower is embroidered with a silk thread on a dissolvable fabric with free motion embroidery darning foot on a machine. And the underwear is, again, hand knitted from the wool. My final look is called Threads All Around. And the jacket is inspired by the Icelandic national costume, skautbúningur, and it's woven with a zero-waste weaving technique, where the silk fabric is ripped in strips, and I'm allowing the weft to loosen up from this warp. And when I do this, I feel like I'm painting. I feel like I'm painting a garment into its shape. The skirt is inspired by kljásteinavefstóll, or warp weighting loom, which from the beginning of Western history until the Middle Ages was the main type of weaving loom used. The thread is threaded through a crinoline made from the bamboo straps and wrapped around the hoop and attached to air-dried clay. So this is my collection, Tales Told in Tangles. And then for my accessories, I'm obsessed with pieces of handcraft that was once started with a passion, but then they never got to be finished. So I was wondering, what is the reason for handcraft to never be finished? Is it about time? Do we get distracted by the world around us? Or how many pieces of handcraft are laying around waiting to be finished and being valued? So this here is a blanket that my mother, she started to knit 30 years ago. And then after 3.5 squares, she stopped and I took it and I made a bag out of it. And then this one here is from my grandmother. She gave me a weaving loom and it had an old piece in it that she never finished. And I made a bag out of it. And then when I showed it this year to my grandmother, she had totally forgotten about this piece. But when I showed it to her, she like recalled so many like memories. It's like, yeah, oh my God, like I remember it. It was like 1981. So yeah, this was yeah, what my collection is about, my heritage of craftsmanship. And yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for having me.